everybody. Very good afternoon to you all. Myself, Dr. Bobby Basu, Faculty Heritage Business School. Take this privilege to welcome you all to this webinar organized by Heritage Business School. Heritage Business School started its journey in the year 2003 under the Heritage Group of Institutions. It runs management program which is affiliated to Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology and is approved by All India Council of Technical Education. Under the visionary leadership of our top management, Heritage Business School has achieved many accolades. To name a few in the recent past, Heritage Business School has been awarded as the Best Education Brand in 2020 by ET Edge, an initiative by Economic Times. Heritage Business School has also been declared as the most preferred B school in the East in 2020 at the 13th ASSOCHAM Higher Education Forum. Now, apart from academics, at HBS, we organize industry institute interface sessions on a regular basis, where we invite experts from corporate houses and academia to share their vast experience with our students so as to enhance their practical knowledge. Today, we are very happy to have amongst us Professor Nandan Sengupta, founder and director, ESK Network, an institutional interface for education, skill and knowledge. He is also the College Ambassador for India for Cambridge Marketing College, UK, and consultant to Macau, that is Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, in digital transformation of learning content. Very warm welcome to you, sir. Dr. Sengupta will be speaking on a very interesting topic, influencing consumer behavior through sensory marketing. Sensory marketing, as we know, it engages consumer senses and that affects their perception, judgment, and behavior towards purchasing. Although sensory marketing is a relatively new concept compared to traditional marketing, but if we see around us, there are ample number of examples of sensory marketing. For example, hotel industry, many hotels, they release perfume into the air duct, so as to create an ambience, a very pleasant ambience, and thereby encourage their guests to stay in the hotel for a long time and hopefully encourage another stay. And this is not a very unusual tactic. This is a very, very popular one. Similarly, when we go to spa and salons, we find that soft music is playing in the background. Now here, the focus is on the sense of hearing. And the idea behind is that the calming effect of the soft music will relax the client and help him to have an enjoyable experience so that he will have a tendency to visit the spa again and again. Moreover, sound can make invisible visible. Think about Intel, right? Now, Intel produces chips that goes inside the computer and consumers are not never supposed to see that. But mention Intel and immediately the 5-note time will come to a mind. So all these are the examples of sensory marketing which are being used by companies for decades to increase their sales. I'm sure we are going to have a very enriching and interesting deliberation from Professor Sengupta. Without further ado, I would now request our director, sir, Dr. Chetan Upadhyay, to formally introduce our speaker of the day, Professor Nandan Sengupta, and take forward the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bobby. Good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the Heritage Group, Heritage Business School, and on my personal behalf, I wish to extend a very warm welcome to our keynote speaker for the day today, Professor Nandan Sengupta, who is joining us from Cambridge, United Kingdom. So it's good morning for him. But I want to wish him a good afternoon from India. It's good morning time for him. So really glad that he could join us today. He spent his a formal introduction. He spent the early part of his career in B2B technology marketing and project management before moving on to become a marketing consultant with special focus on strategic communication, digital marketing and emerging marketing strategies. He's an experienced coach and tutor. He has wide experience in cross-cultural interactions, having been associated with multinational companies from USA, Canada, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Japan, Australia, and of course, India. He has already spent 14 years of his career in India before he moved to the UK in 2014. So that's about 14 years in India and about 16 years in UK, where he has lived and worked ever since. He is a Master of Business Management from the University of Kolkata and also holds the postgraduate qualifications of Chartered Institute of Marketing in UK. Professor Nandan, you could also tell us, beside the presentation, about this degree that you have, Chartered Institute of Marketing, because our students have to have a global focus nowadays.
Yes.
So that would be a very interesting part that if you can tell them about them.
Yeah, I'll be very happy to.
Yes. He is also the college ambassador for India. The college is the Cambridge Marketing College, UK. And is also a consultant to our university, the Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University. And so today we are really eagerly looking forward to him, basically. So, friends, as Dr. Bobby was telling, hotels is one example. Like when we did our marketing more than 25 years back, I think today it has become much more competitive and the landscape has totally changed. The thing is the same: awareness, interest, desire, action. But how to create the awareness, how to create the interest, and finally, how to make sure that the person buys the product, that remains challenging. So it is no more visual now. So like even if you go to Singapore Airlines, they have been able to use the olfactory method, by which a particular aroma is there with the air hostess, and on everything they give, the warm towel they give. So that is the thing. And all of us would have started our career having our tea or coffee in the roadside shop. But when you go to Starbucks, for example, you pay much more for the cup of coffee, but you have a totally different kind of experience because of the beans, coffee beans, right? So, and the music. It is not that when you go to Starbucks, some random music is being played. So it is a music which is selected and by the Starbucks people, and then only paid, because the music, the smell that you have, and the visual thing. Like the other thing which, for example, you're all fond of the iPhone. So if you go to this Apple store, you come to have an experience, the Apple experience they have in the store itself, the technology experience we have. I think 25 years back or more than that, when your parents would have gone to buy furniture, there'll be a kather mistri, and you would give them order and he'll do it. But today in these superstores, you go there and you can actually sit on the sofa set. You can actually experience the dining table. So, like before you order, you can sit on 5 dining tables, 5 chairs, and see which is more comfortable. So I think the marketers are trying to make everything possible to make sure that you have a great experience, and you can go for a test drive. You may be knowing that when your parents wanted to buy a car 25 years plus back, there's only Ambassador and maybe a Fiat car, Premier Padmini, and you have to wait for a car. Today, when you want to buy a car, they just have to give a call to whether it's Honda, Hyundai, Suzuki, and they'll be very happy to give you a test drive. That is also sensory marketing. They're wanting to give you that experience, basically, right? So I think now we look forward to the expert who will give us the examples. I think it's a very interesting session. And I want to tell, we are all cricket fans. So basically, Professor Nandan, we are now at 83. People have already got into the system. And I think we'll definitely cross 100 by the time, the session picks up.
Yeah, I can
because,
see that.
In India, it is India's stretchable time. So people think कि 3 बजे बोला है तो यार 3 बजे तक हो जाएगा. लेकिन हम लोग जो है 3 बजे का 3 बजे स्टार्ट करते हैं यहाँ पर. और हम लोग का this is you're the 15th speaker, you're the 13th speaker, the lucky 13, and all the sessions we are starting time. So this is the heritage culture we are trying to bring, because I think the discipline has no substitute. And if a small country like United Kingdom, where you are there, if that has ruled the world once, it was because of the discipline the Englishmen had, and that's why they could rule the whole world. And when the discipline went away, I think the English, the English rule also slowly went away. So I keep on telling my participants, my students in particular, that there is no substitute for hard work and discipline. So I must also share on a very informal note that when I was in London, I'd also gone to Professor Nandan's house. It's a beautiful house, and because the hospitality was par excellence. So I think I got a sensory feeling in the house. So now, Professor Nandan, with that introduction, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My sincere regards to all faculty who are present over here, and my best wishes to all the students, those who are here. So with this, let me start my presentation. So I'll just sharing my screen. Okay. So sensory marketing, as Dr. Basu and Dr. Mukhopadhyay have said, sensory marketing is marketing through appealing to the customers or the prospective customers' senses. I am sure all of us know what are the sensory organs, panchendriyo. So those are the five organs that we have. Now, those five organs are obviously, the visual organ is most important because we accept a lot of inputs through that visual organ, but also we use our oral organs, that is the ear. And as Dr. Basu has said, the fragrance, the smell is also extremely important. So is touch and taste. Now, before going into the ways to marketing through the organs, let me talk about just a bit about how we process any inputs that our marketers send us to. So any inputs initially are either appealed to our logical senses or our heart, that is our emotional senses. Now, any person, everybody will be having this emotional, creative, imaginative, impulsive, and reflective stimulus in their heads. And of course, the rational part is also there. So, when someone looks at something they love, the emotional part plays a bigger role in making a decision about whether or not to go for buying it. I'm talking about entirely from marketing side. So basically, when this heart and head concept was running, people actually, I mean, the marketing people actually wanted to make a good mix of it and offer you a well balanced decision making matrix where you can be influenced to buy their products. For example, a very old campaign, most of you, the students, definitely have not seen that, but may have heard about it. That is Onida television. It was a television from the early age of the television. Onida, it was a good TV, and that was the rational approach in their advertisements, that this is a good television, this does so many good things. But they used to do a very clever thing, very clever apple to one's emotional level. They used to say a tagline, it's neighbor's envy, owner's pride. So, everybody would like to flaunt about a particular possession that they have, but the neighbors don't have. And that's a human nature. So they actually appeal to that emotional nature. And not only because of that, but also the product was good. The total campaign was so successful, even after so many years, probably after 30, 40 years, that case is being discussed in many management institutions all across the world. So a balanced approach towards head and heart are very important. Now, with that, I am going on to understanding the components of the branding, or in other words, how a brand thinks as to the customer's buying decision process goes through. Now, Dr. Mukhopadhyay, shall I explain EPIC model, or do you think your students know that already?
No, little bit you can explain, little bit.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So when someone wants to buy something, initially, they start to create unwittingly, unknowingly, create some sort of emotion about buying that particular model. Now, a little while back, Dr. Mukhopadhyay has spoken about AIDA model, awareness, etc., etc. Now, that is a very generalistic model, and that is the process of a customer right from being aware of the need to making a decision of buying. Yes, of course, that's a very nice model. But over here, what we are trying to think is that how the emotion of buying a particular brand is building up. If you want to buy a TV, you can buy any TV. If you want to buy a wristwatch, you can buy any wristwatch. Now, if you can afford anything, then probably there is a question of selecting a particular brand, and that is where the emotion and perception, your perception as a buyer about the brand comes into picture. Now, all of the students, you have mobile phones. I have checked up with many students. Many of them would like to have Apple phone. Not everybody can afford it, but they still have an emotion with this, attached with this. Now, how the emotion has come into being, how the perception has come into being that this is a good phone. That is because in the next two parts, that's emotion and perception are on the buyer side, and on the brand owner side, they actually innovate as to how to communicate to the potential customers so that they can increase the emotion and perception. So these four elements actually build up an interface between a potential buyer and a brand owner. Top two are on the buyer side, and the bottom two are on the brand owner side. Now, the brand owners, when they communicate, they don't really have to communicate only through words. They can communicate through many ways, like, they can appeal to many sensory organs. That is what I want to say. They can pop up some pictures, they can, play some music, they can do a lot of things. Now, many of you probably have heard the Airtel campaign with a particular music. So, I don't know whether the students will be aware of that, but I'm sure the professors will be. It was made by the famous, uh, music composer of India. And that music was actually researched and selected as the most appealing to someone's oral sensory organ. And it worked very nicely because for 5 or 10 years afterwards, even then, if you hear the music, you will think of Airtel brand. So that is the appeal, that is the innovative communication, and that is the appeal to actually trigger your emotion about Airtel. Same thing happens with some music, some that is a vocal music with Hutch phone. Hutch phone is not there anyway. So that is how the companies, they try to build up a total appeal to all your sensory organs, not only to visuals, and try to trigger your emotion about the brand. Now, each brand, each product had some tangible benefits that have to be good. Without that, there is no way of triggering your emotions, the buyer's emotion. So the tangible benefits and the emotional benefits, those two actually constitute the total product or the brand. Now, if we think about how we can work out our procedures on the tangible benefits and on the emotional benefits, then we will see there are two approaches in branding. One is called adaptive approach. The second one is called supportive approach. Now, I'm talking about these things because these will actually build up the basis on which the sensory marketing is being done normally. The adaptive approach, as you can see over here, generally talks about the tangible benefits. It appeals towards the rational part of a person. The supportive approach talks about the emotional benefits. Like, for example, Old Spice talk about a lot about, the Old Spice users are a macho person. So that's supportive. That's appealing to the emotion. Very recently, I was looking at some Indian fragrance advertisement where they were suggesting that a boy was impressing a girl with the fragrance. That's an emotional benefit. And of course, the fragrance has some approach, like tangible approach. It's good, it lasts long, but the emotional benefit actually is what that keeps the advertisement or the communication in your mind, in advertising language, what we call top of the mind rating. And it helps when you go to the store or go online to purchase a product. It helps for you to be able to remind that particular brand, the brand recall, as we call it. So you keeping your emotion and perception at a certain level that helps the brands when you are making a buying decision is all that the sensory marketing has in its core value. It helps people make a decision at the time when they are taking the decision, right? So, with the adaptive and supportive approaches explained, let us go to this particular diagram where I'm trying to show you that a balanced product, a balanced brand will have both the approaches more or less equally. Some brands might have the basic needs, this, the light color is the basic needs, uh, the tangible approach, the logical approach, more logical but less emotional. It is possible. You don't have to make it always balanced. It is possible. There are some brands which are having only the basic basic tangible approaches, like a cement, like building construction material, like steel bars. They cannot tell you that if you buy these steel bars, your neighbors will envy you or you will get this or that. No, but they will have to tell them the steel bars are good, and the emotional approach that they can adopt is towards the safety and security, that you will be secure, you will be safe, and they do that. But if there is a brand which is only having the emotional approach elements, not the basic tangible approaches, that brand is unsustainable. There are many brands which, which come and go. In most cases, they only have this approach, not the basic needs. So when you are trying to build up a brand or thinking about sensory marketing, you should first decide upon what kind of brand that you are going to go with into the market. Now, before getting into the real discussion onto sensory ones, I'll just show you one other slide, which is another type of branding, but it is not really a different type. It is just looking at the branding in a different way. All the products should be having the logical and emotional elements, adaptive and supportive. Apart from that, when you are approaching a customer, you can actually approach them with a few other dimensions. Functional dimensions, which is all about the logical approach. Mental dimension, which is all about the emotional approach. Now, there is this social dimension which has come up in the modern age of digital marketing and social network marketing. This is essentially a mix of, emotional approach and a bit of functional as well. Because if you don't really brand it on the social dimension, you cannot have the advantage of peer reviews, which are basically functional. Some people can tell that this brand is good, or influence marketing. So it's a mix of more emotional, less functional. And there is another one, spiritual. And this is becoming a very, I should say, hot topic in Western society, especially, where generally, Western people, when the life is very hard here. So sometimes people look for spiritual and peaceful settlements in life. And for that, they depend on several elements like being ethical, being environmental friendly, being peaceful, being good to others. Why Black Lives Matters are so much of a big, movement over here? Because of the spiritual dimension that it has. So a brand, if it could be divided initially into two things, like adaptive and supportive, or in other words, emotional and logical. And then it could be further micro-analyzed in these 4 dimensions. Then a better branding proposal could be pulled through. And since there are 4 dimensions, it is called 4D branding. A very big company, Virgin Airlines, they also have different other businesses other than airlines. Virgin depends very much on 4D branding. They try to do that. So with logical, emotional, and 4D branding, if we now go into the real practical thing, what we try to do is we try to enhance, as Dr. Bosch was saying, the customer's experience. Now, in the marketing, in especially in the classical marketing books, you will see marketing is all about creating and catering to the needs in the customer. Yes, it is. But since then, we have gone through the marketing procedure quite a lot. And now there are so many competitors in any product that customers are expecting a good experience, a differentiating element from a product when it is compared to its competitor's product. So that experience the customer is having is all about appealing to all the customer senses. So that experience may come from the usage of the product. And but if the customer is not yet a customer, then how can you make him use the product? Go for testing the product then. Like Dr. Mukhopadhyay was mentioning, the test drive, or Dr. Bose was mentioning, when someone is going into a hotel, there are fragrances, smells, and aromas which enhances their experience. And actually, you will face the same thing in retail stores, in those superstores, as we call it, the shopping arcades everywhere. Now, not only the experience is important, but also it is actually very important for the company to point out that to the customer that look, this is the experience that we have actually offered you. So, sorry, excuse me. I'll just quit this. So that is what these companies do. Like BMW say, it is an ultimate driving machine. Tata still provides some sort of experience to the customer, experience of satisfaction, that we are actually more of an ethical company. So you are having the experience and satisfaction to become a part of an ethical company by being a customer, and so on and so forth. Now, while we are going to give or offer the experience, we have only these 5 sensory organs where we can actually play. And over there, what actually we can offer? We can offer some stimulus to those potential customers or the customers. Those stimulus could be offered in a non-conscious way. The customer doesn't know that it's being offered, but nevertheless, it can actually receive it, like smell, like taste, like touch even. When the sensory marketing came into being, it's about 20, 25 years back when it started. Initially, it started with some experiments where they found out that touching a soft pillow is more satisfying than touching a wireframe box, which is normal. Now, if a product can offer some sort of experience in touch, then it should keep that in mind. That's all they are saying. So in case of Apple Store, as Dr. Mukhopadhyay mentioned, they actually provide you an experience by minimalist design, by a very uniform type of soothing lighting, and that kind of stuff. You never are conscious about these things, but they do these things to make you feel happy about coming to the Apple Store. And today, as of now, during last few years, this providing the sensory stimulus to various customers have become somewhat different. Initially, it was on a very analog basis. Now it's digital. I hope the analog and the difference between analog and digital are clear. Nevertheless, I'm just going into a sentence like, when you are going onto a store, into a hotel, those are all hard life things. They are referred as analog. And when you are going onto the virtual experience of the internet, that is digital. So now that it has come to the digital section, I will say a few words on those. Now, how can you really offer sensory perceptions to someone digitally? It's very difficult, actually. Smell digitally, how can you do that? You cannot. Honestly, you cannot. So, then the sensory marketing is somewhat which has turned into that a theory that when you approach a person or whatever sensory organ you are having, try to use that, and definitely try to multiply the sensory organ experience. So what does that mean? That means if you offer someone something visual, that visual clue should be substantiated with audio clue, with touch clue if possible, with nasal clue, that is smell, whenever possible. Now on internet, if you can give someone a visual audiovisual clue, for example, and give a very nice stimuli, nice brand experience through 3D goggles and all that, then whenever you have the opportunity to get that customer once again, you substantiate with further clues, if possible, to touch, smell, and taste. Now, all may not be applicable at the same time, but if applicable, try to give him. Now the question comes here. How do you know that this is the customer who was on the internet on last Tuesday is right now coming to my store today? It's very difficult. Is it very difficult to know? I don't know what you think, but honestly, it is not very difficult these days. Because every one of us are being monitored by all the companies, all the advertising agency, all the apps, and they are collecting data about us. Now, every one of us, when we, in the morning, when we wake up and put our mobile phone on or check our WhatsApp, we start generating data. And since all of our mobile phones have lots of apps, all the apps collect those data and send it to all the data processing companies, those who in turn actually sell those data to other marketing companies. Now, the companies know that this particular customer owning this particular mobile phone with the IMEI number at this location has looked on the internet on his or her laptop to this particular product and watched this particular video. So when that company's store has the identification of the same mobile phone through their Bluetooth loop, it is possible, then immediately they will start to send you some more stimuli through your mobile phone, or possibly they will assign one of their sales assistants to you so that that sales assistant can go and offer something more through your other sensory organs. Sir, Dr. Mukhopadhyay, is that clear? It's a very difficult and complicated scenario that I'm trying to explain.
No,
Is
no,
it
you
clear?
go ahead. If there is a question, you'll ask it later.
Okay,
You go ahead.
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So that is how all the companies actually keep tracking our buying behavior. We go onto this AIDA model or APIC model, select a lot of products, buy them, and then we start enjoying that product, or rather getting angry with the product. So we either become a loyal customer or we discard it. Now this is called, this circle has many names. Someone calls it buying journey, someone calls it loyalty loop, someone calls it customer profiling. So I am using this particular diagram which says loyalty loop. When you select a product, you go on to buying it over and over, unless it's a once in a lifetime product. Now, these are monitored by all the companies, and when they think that someone is not being loyal, they actually try to increase the marketing effort through all the sensory organs. So monitoring all the customers are extremely important. Now, I will tell you just one more thing about this AIDA before we straight go into the sensory thing. That is, there is a slightly modified version of AIDA model by Davenport and Beck. They are economists and management specialists. They have proposed a model which is something based on buyers' attention. It's like they assume the awareness is there, and creating interest and desire is not really what matters these days. There are so many information over the internet and all around you that you will be actually flooded with elements of interest, and your desire will always be at a certain level. So the challenge is to get the attention, the percentage of attention, the share of attention in the customer's mind, and encouraging the customer to act, that is, to buy some product. So that is why it is a very similar model. They call it an awareness model, awareness, attention, action, AAA. So on the basis of this decision roadmap, this sensory marketing was really refined in a chart like this. Now, I'll just take 5 minutes about this probably before I go into further applications and data-driven marketing. That is, marketing as such, for mass marketing, that is advertisements and prints in newspaper, it's goods logic, that is the product is good. Goods means product over here. The product advantage and benefit and stuff like that. In case of service, if the service element is there, you'll have to make sure the service is there. Now, the point is, when there is a sensory marketing approach, you have to really depend on the experience of the customers, because that's all what the sensors do. And by the experience, either through internet or through real experience or through your communication as to how the experience will be, you have to really make the brand's perspective in the potential customer's mind, so that the customer have the recall, have the top of the mind, and when they make the decision, they will go for that particular brand. Now, to be able to do that, as we said, it is basically trying to grab the attention and retain that attention. Now, this Professor Hulton is, he is a stalwart in sensory marketing, and he said that all the marketing activities could be actually divided into three different levels: general marketing, strategic marketing, and tactical marketing. Now, strategic marketing is a goal-oriented marketing. That is, the company's main goal is to promote this product and not to promote that product, to achieve certain profit level, to do certain CSR activities. And depending on that, you can focus on your definite sensory marketing campaigns, and depending on that, you can really, more generally, you can either give a general idea, do not have to really go into very deep bleeding sensory marketing issues. But in tactical marketing, where the smaller details, the smaller activities that constitute the strategic marketing are being taken care of, there we have more interactivity, and there you will have to really think about your sensory marketing approach that will help build the brand into the potential customer's mind. So with that, I am now trying to get into some practical examples initially, and then we'll go on to the contemporary approach to the sensory marketing. First thing, most of these were mentioned by Dr. Mukhopadhyay initially during his introduction. So I'll not really deliberate on this, but except that Starbucks in a coffee store try to enhance the experience, of course, through smell. Singapore Airlines, this is it. They use smell because they actually spray through their air conditioning channels some very nice soothing aroma, and at the same time they actually decided on these designs of their stewards, of their air hostesses um, attires after a lot of research, and they have chosen the colors and the design which has to be ethically relevant to Singapore culture, and at the same time soothing and pleasing. So, in totality, this colors and designs, that is visual cue, the smell, that is nasal cue, and the music, that is oral cue. Along with these, the behaviors and offerings, and when you go onto the board of Singapore Airlines, you will have some sort of initial cookies and things like that. That is taste. So they try to give you a total experience. Now, unless you are going onto the board of an aircraft, you cannot have all the experience. But even then, they can approach you by showing everything through a video or on a print machine, or printed matter. So they queue all those. They provide all those cues. Now, Apple and Visa, they in their mobile, they give a very funny thing. They do a very funny thing on Visa card. Today, these days, we are accustomed with mobile payments. So on Visa card, when you use one, they use a very nice clicking sound, which actually denotes that your transaction is completed. They have researched a lot to finalize on the sound, and the sound they have chosen provides some sort of sense of completion according to the research, and most of the Visa customers are very happy with that. Apple provides the same thing. When you lock the phone, they actually provide a very locking, it's the sound is like putting a lock onto the closed, locked situation. So those who have Apple phone, you can try that, and the same sound is applicable on the Apple laptops, MacBooks. Same sound all through the brand, same across the brands, and the visual cue is the soothing one when you lock it up. So all these things try to add to your experience, and of course this particular sound element is not going to be used as one simple marketing element, but this in accumulation with other stimulus are always going to enhance the experience and keep the brand on top of your minds. So now, as I was saying, today we are totally data driven. So how is that possible? We are collecting data from your mobile phone, from your laptop, from everything, from your social networks, and those who are having Fitbits, they are also IoT instruments. So we are collecting data from there too. And from customer, we are collecting all the data which are being processed in a data platform, and there are certain analysis which are being done, and from that we are getting predictive guidelines as to what kind of communication, innovative communication, remind EPIC model, we will have to send to the customer, and through what channels, like email or messaging, SMS, social network, direct mail, internet, and these days through the internet you can actually send them 3D kind of thing, even on a TV. 3D application, 3D advertisements are possible. So now millions of customers are providing billions of data, and that are providing trillions of analytical results. So how does one handle that? It's impossible to handle it manually. Companies like the Gartner or Boston Consulting Group, they have come up with a strategy building timeline. This is just an example. You don't really have to memorize this. This is a Gartner example. CX is customer experience. Now they are building a strategy, day by day strategy, and they are sticking to that. Now, if the results, which are also being monitored through data capture, if the results are being analyzed and it's seen that the strategy is not working, they will revise the strategy real time. And all of these are being done mostly by softwares, of course, supervised by a few humans. So one of the softwares, I will just give you an example of, is Adobe. All of us know Adobe as Photoshop, but Photoshop is just, a smaller business for Adobe these days. Adobe has provided a digital ecosystem to all the marketers these days, which is called Adobe Experience Cloud. It provides the experience to the customers, it collects data, and for each and every person, they build a profile. For me, there is a profile in Adobe. For Dr. Mukhopadhyay, there is a profile in Adobe, I am sure. And they know our likings, they know our habits, they know our purchasing habits, not only purchasing habits, they know our social connections, they know when do we have to purchase gifts for our friends and relatives, when are their birthdays, everything. Depending on that, the communication content are automatically being done through AI and ML. Today's seminar does not have that provision. I have taken seminars even for 3 days, 3 into 7, 20 hours almost on those subjects. I'll be happy to do that later if there are opportunities. But today I'm just saying you how the things are done. So they make the profile, and for each profile, there are content, advertising contents or campaign contents are being made and being sent to them through the channels like, social channels, social network, Instagram, Facebook, so on and so forth, even WhatsApp, and of course, through your laptop. So these things are always appealing to your sensory organs in most cases and being substantiated, reinforced by the real life experiences when you are going to the store or going to somewhere where they can catch hold of you. Now, with that, I am coming to another 5 minutes. I am coming to the latest of these data-driven sensory marketing, which is called neuromarketing. Now, what is neuromarketing? Neuromarketing is somewhat new. It appeals to your sensory organs, it collects data, but it collects actually your neural data. That is the data from your brain, data from your neurons. It doesn't really depend on some data which needs to be interpreted and then actions need to be recommended. It straight away can collect from your eye tracking, eye scanner, or motion sensor that whether you are happy or not. In fact, when neuromarketing started, they started it with MRI scanning of brains of customers, of course, with consent. It was more like interviews and focus group, but there were no questionnaires. There were some products and MRI machines. Products were shown and they were mapping the brains. So they know exactly which part of the brain is now, initiated or excited by seeing the product. So positive, negative, everything. There is no data which is more dependable than that. On the basis, if they can send you sensory marketing campaigns, what can how can they not influence you? Now, even then, if all the companies start neuromarketing, then again, this fight for attention, Davenport model, fight for attention will be there. I have given the presentation to Dr. Mukhopadhyay, and these links are there. So if you want to know more about this, you can have it. Now, there are just 2 more slides. Now, on the basis of neuromarketing, it looks a bit, it sounds a bit, a fairy tale thing, but no. There is a company who started actually neuromarketing product, Neuralink. Neuralink started with an experiment on mouse, and they actually embedded a chip in there, and they actually started collecting data and providing stimuli to this mouse and selecting that whether they are doing accordingly or not, like giving the food or such things. Now they have actually refined the thing, and there is this thing which you can put behind your ear if you are okay with it, and they can actually map your brain signals. Brain signals are nothing but electrical signals which pass through neurons like electrical circuits. So they can map it, and they can actually send you exactly the products that you would like to have. And they can sell this service to the advertisers. And now Neuralink has come up with an embeddable chip. I don't know who will agree to that, but they are hopeful. And when I tell you the owner of Neuralink's name, you will probably believe that he is a visionary. He is Elon Musk. So now, but the thing is, Neuralink is the first company probably in this sector. But there is another company who have come up last year or year before and challenged Neuralink with this product. They have a brain-machine interface. The company is called NeuroCity, and the product is called Notion. Now, what they demand is their product is fine. They don't have to embed anything. You have to wear this helmet-like thing. And if you wear this, then your thoughts and electrical signals could be monitored, and through Wi-Fi, that thought could be turned into action. Now, when it does, the reverse is also true, that they know your thoughts, and accordingly they can provide the advertisements to you. Even I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years time there will be a way to send voices down your brain, so it's like hearing voices within your head. It's possible technically. So probably when you wake up in the morning and go to brush your teeth, you might hear within your head, Colgate is a nice toothpaste, something like this. So with this, I will come to the conclusion of the presentation, just to give you an idea of, to go in very detail into sensory marketing, and its all possible applications will take much longer time. But before that, I would just like to show you how this NeuroCity thing works. Just a very small, very quick video. The lady was cooking. She needed a recipe, so she wore this brain interface, and with her thoughts, which are basically electrical signals, it was through Wi-Fi. Those electrical signals was monitored by the instrument, and through Wi-Fi, accordingly, it was transferred into actionable things. And the lady was just scrolling down her tablet through the brain interface. Was the video clear?
Yes, yes, we understood. Now we understood.
Yeah. Okay.
So can we go to the question answer session?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. We have Mr. Sanjay Mukherjee from Bombay. Mr. Sanjay, would you like to ask a question? He's asked a very interesting question.
Yes, sir. Can you give me the
He's from
question?
Bombay. So he's asking that with online marketing becoming prevalent, what will be the role of the sensory marketing? Because if online marketing becomes very dominant, then sir, what is the role of
that
the
is what I was trying to explain. Online marketing is not without sensory marketing. Now, when we used to do the sensory marketing through the classical marketing, we used to depend on whatever data and interpretation we are collecting from the feedbacks or from the research feedbacks. Now, we will be able to depend on the exact data without asking anyone, not even the respondent. So we have the data, and through online marketing, we cannot appeal to all the sensory organs, but we can appeal to quite a few sensory organs. And with the technology development like 3D technology, and in England, I have seen there are some 7D thing, like in an auditorium, they offer you smell and everything. So with that on online right now, we are able to give you everything through sensory marketing except touch and smell. Through your laptop, touch and smell are not yet possible. But if you remember, on some of your phones, you have started seeing something called haptic sensitivity. Have you come across this? Check it out. Haptic sensitivity is all about mapping your touch. Okay, how you are touching, soft or hard, which angle, everything. And work is going on to reverse reproduce that kind of feeling. So if you are angry, the touch can measure it, they can take the data, and they can give you something soothing. As long as visual soothing effect is possible, they can do that. If in the future, it's not yet done but work is going on, if in the future the touch screens are made in a way where they can actually simulate touch, they will. There are certain projects going on that. Smell, not yet, honestly, not yet. But in an auditorium, you can have the smell. Now, marketing, when we are going on to online marketing, I wouldn't say that online marketing will be the only marketing in the future. It will be a major part, but offline marketing will always be there. So the data from online marketing will actually enhance and more focus the sensory marketing in offline mode as well. So it's kind of, one and the other, not one or the other. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, to some extent, yes. Yes, sure.
So if
Acha,
there is any more
our
clarification,
our professor of marketing, Dr. Chitra Bakshi is here.
yeah.
So, about our students. So, Dr. Chitra, would you like to ask any question?
Sir, what is the difference between this experiential marketing
Mhm.
and sensory marketing?
Sensory marketing, when we call it sensory marketing, it was a little older term for experience marketing.
Okay.
Because when we started talking about customers experience or CX, that was more more focused on 2000 onwards, but sensory marketing came before that. Now sensory marketing was based on providing the inputs to your sensory organs and
Okay, sir.
measuring the result through market research and feedbacks and sales results and so on and so forth, right? So
Yes.
it's a process, I should say. But when we started talking about customer experience, CX marketing,
Yes.
there, sensory marketing is just a channel. So I should say sensory marketing is a subset of CX marketing,
Okay. Okay, sir.
but it's very related.
Okay, sir. Sir, I'm having another question.
Please.
Uh, what is the difference in the marketing strategies being practiced in a shopping mall in UK or London and
Mhm.
vis-a-vis in Kolkata?
Um, I can talk on that for at least a whole day, but basically I would like to tell you the three major areas.
Hmm.
Number one is planogram.
Okay.
Planogram is something which the superstores in UK spend a lot of money on, money and
Okay,
understanding.
sir. Okay, sir.
So now how they do the planogram is something that is not really within the scope of 5 minutes. It's about an hour. So I'm not going into that. Secondly is customer servicing, the concept of customer servicing. And the
Okay, sir.
third is the environment, store environment. Now, the customers, when I say customer servicing, I usually have seen
Hmm.
somewhat like whenever you go into a store in Calcutta or in India, anywhere, like, Shoppers Stop or anywhere,
Okay.
there will be two or three people, sales assistants, ladies and gentlemen, they come and they kind of stick around with you. Am I wrong
Okay.
in saying
So,
that?
no, you're right. You're
No,
right.
sir. Right. Right.
Right. No one will do that. No one will do that in UK because that, I feel, that actually infringe your privacy, and if that creates a kind of pressure in your mind. That's a very negative sensory marketing. They are giving you sensory clues which will tell you that you have to buy something. But in UK, nobody will come to you unless you ask for something. That's the strategy here. So that is the customer service which will give you an excellent experience. But it's not that they will not monitor you. They will keep an eye on you. There are thermal scanners to map your footsteps. There are iris scanners to map your eye, and they know which products you are getting at from the data. There are people who are monitoring you. If you seem to be in a distress or looking for someone will appear. Someone will just come to you. So this is the kind of customer service. Or if you go to the customer service desk, you will have a very, you don't have to wait. You don't have to, have to give a customer reaction to be able to do a transaction, if you know what I mean. In Shopper
Okay,
Stop,
sir.
the last time
Hmm.
I was in Calcutta, I wanted to change a shirt, and they told me uh, the customer service was not good, so I was unhappy. And they
Okay,
told
sir.
me that if you change the shirt, that's fine, but I cannot complete the transaction unless you give a customer's reaction on this panel, which is smiley, no smiley, no anger, and there is an anger. So 1 0 -1. So I said I
Yes,
don't
sir.
want to give it. They said I am not able to answer your complete your transaction. That's extremely bad. So I said, because I don't, why I don't want to give it is that I am
Hmm.
dissatisfied and I just don't want to leave a dissatisfaction mark over here. Since I don't shop here, I come once in a while. They said, no, sir, you give whatever you give. So I said, I put this red mark, and then they
Hmm.
produced a 7-page form to fill in. Why am I
Okay.
dissatisfied?
Okay.
So in the end, what I did was I blacklisted Shopper Stop. I don't go to Shopper Stop anymore. I don't have to. Whenever I am in India, I avoid Shopper Stop. So they lost a customer.
Okay,
So
sir.
that is the difference. The experience level will never be like this over here in UK. If you even want to change it, they will not ask a question. They will just change it. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. And the
Okay, sir.
third portion is the customer experience as a whole. Enough
Hmm.
space,
Hmm.
enough nice lighting, and nice smell, and all. Those are all sensory things like this. So I think these are the basic
But here,
differences. But
Professor
at the back
Sengupta,
end, there are many differences.
Just to be a devil's advocate, because you are not doing online shopping, you have gone to Spencer's in Calcutta, for example, and
Yes.
this salesperson tells
Mm-hmm.
that, sir, besides the toothpaste, we have now got a very good mouthwash also. It is
Mm-hmm.
better than Listerine. So,
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes when these people show some new products and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
we want to have that feel, because you've gone to a store. So you sometimes want to have that feel,
No,
that,
that is fine,
someone is
sir.
attending to you.
I am not against that. What I'm against is I'm just trying. It's not a question of me being against that. It's a
No, 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 I'm
question of
just
the
saying. Uh,
differences.
yeah.
What that will happen over here as well. If
Hmm.
someone says that there is a product, there is an offer or something, they will tell you. And even if you don't take it, they will tell you at the checkout counter that, sir, there is an offer on this.
Hmm.
But what I think the difference is that someone will always stick to it as if you are going to pick something up.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And same thing happens when you go into the store. You have to deposit your bag or you have to seal your bag.
Yeah, yeah.
It happens in India. It happens in Singapore. Nowhere else in the world. I
Oh,
have
you.
not been in other Asian countries, but nowhere else in the world.
But
Not
what
in
about
Europe, America.
shoplifting? Then what about the lot of
There are
shoplifting?
shoplifting. Yeah, there are shopliftings. For that, they have security cameras and everything. But they don't ask the customer to leave the leave the bag, or they never seal it. The most notorious one was I think Mustafa in Singapore. You know, they seal everything. But whenever I go into some store, I said straight away that I can keep it with you, but then you have to give me the value of my laptop if it is stolen. It's very costly.
Hmm.
As simple as that. So then they try to seal my bag, so I let it.
Hmm.
So these are the experience things which are probably one should improve upon. I know there are security issues, but that should be solved by something else, not at customer satisfaction, not at the cost of customer satisfaction. That's what I mean.
Okay, there's a interesting question from Ognijita Mukherjee of Tha. Ognijita, would you like to ask it yourself? Ognijita? I think she's got disconnected or something.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask the question. She's asked a very good question. She's saying, what is the role of artificial intelligence and VR as tools for sensory marketing? How do you see that?
Well, if you tell me to give my answer in one word, I'll be saying that will take about 90% of the whole sensory marketing in 5 years' time. Because, as I said, we are getting data. Okay. Now, when we are getting data about our customers, we know what exactly that customer is going to do in, let's say, 5 minutes. Dr. Mukhopadhyay, you was telling me that if the sales assistant comes and give you an offer, that is always good. But think about this. I have your mobile phone IMEI. Right. I know the mobile phone's location exactly. So I know you are close to, say, toothbrush enclosure. I can actually pop up an advertisement of offer which is related to the product you are lifting right now on your mobile phone. And with not the VR, but the AR, that is augmented reality. The augmented reality, it is now possible to pop up a particular virtual image of a product in front of your eyes where you are standing right now. It's possible. It's done. It's not yet cost effective, but within 5 years' time, it will be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Truly. And possibly with VR enabled on your laptop and VR goggles, you may have the almost similar experience through your laptop. Instead of going to a shop, you can pick up things and buy it on your laptop, and the things will be delivered to your house. It is possible. If you go to a few museums like Rijksmuseum of Amsterdam, they are very much marketing through sensory marketing. And they have created these 3D things on their website so that you can actually experience almost 80% of it. And if you have the VR attachment, then it's VR. So it is coming in a very big way, I should say.
Yeah, I think total revolution. The world has become totally different from what it was. Yeah,
totally.
Sarthak Jaiswal is asking. He's a student of ours from the business school. He's wanting to give, if you could give some specific examples of sensory marketing in the hospitality sector.
In the hospitality sector, of course, Dr. Bosch has spoken about the sense of floral things, sense of fragrance and everything to initiate the experience. But I will give you something else. Let's say in the hospitality sector, let's say you are picking a hotel. I'm not talking about tourism, just hospitality, hotel or club. You have their website, which is augmented reality enabled. It is possible these days. And when you are selecting the rooms, they can actually pop up AR images in front of your mobile phone. Again, not very cost effective, but this is technically possible. And you can actually select what kind of room or what kind of sitting arrangement you are going to have by looking at it in a 3D model around you. So it can actually give you, except smell, almost everything through your sensory organs, and it can enhance your sensory perception about the product that you are going to avail. The same thing goes for airline seat selection. Same thing goes for that. And there are many restaurants which can adopt this, which can give you all that, except smell, all that sensory inputs. So it's possible. People are slowly adopting to all this, and it will come in a big way in a few years' time.
Very big changes happened. Very big changes.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
that video was really eye opener, na? Like
You have seen the brain machine interface.
And
So
we'll have
if
no privacy. Everything is open. We have no privacy. Every
so
data,
privacy, sir, privacy is already gone. You have no
yeah, is
privacy.
gone. Gone.
It's
So,
already gone 10 years back.
so I think students, you have to be very careful with what you're going to post, what you're going to do it, and even if the thinking is taken away, so whatever you're thinking will also be
Yes,
captured
it's going to
by
be taken
Adobe.
very soon.
So
Very soon.
so you should only think good things.
No, nobody will scold you for thinking bad things, but they will know what you're thinking.
Achha, Professor Shobik Pal, you are there. Would you like to ask anything? Shobik Pal, sir, you are there.
Yes, sir. Good
Would you
afternoon,
like
sir.
to ask? Would you like
Good
to ask?
Yes,
afternoon.
sir.
He's a
Yes, sir.
faculty.
Actually, we are working on a different system on IoT. In our system, I can found two or three things are very important for us. That is the sensing. The sensing. After that, we can process that data, and then we can get the effect. That is the output. We can say. So, can you suggest some good type of sensors that is used on that your
Sir,
country?
when you say sensing, what kind of
Yes.
sensors are you using?
We are using actually the camera sensors are using and
That
for the
is
thermal
visual
sensor we are
image
using
sensors. Yeah,
image
right.
sensing. Sometimes we are using some sensors like the temperature sensors for maintaining the
Thermal
temperature of
sensors,
the
yes, of
room of
course.
AC. Yes. Any other sensors you are using in your
Haptic,
country because it is
yeah,
a
touch.
cold
There are
country?
touch sensors. There are touch sensors, sir. Haptic sensors. They have
Yes.
developed quite a few, and I think we all will have the presentation. My
Yes,
email
sir.
is at the end of the presentation. I am
Yes, sir.
on the social network, like
Okay, sir.
LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, everything. So if you connect with me, I will try to find out more on this,
Okay,
and
sir.
I can send it to you. It's not a problem.
Thank
But there
thank
are
you, sir.
sensors. There are haptic sensors, and
Yes, sir.
there are some online sensors. Like they
Yes,
will
sir.
collect data. For example, there is something called MTA, multi-touch attributions, for measuring customers' behavior. So obviously, I haven't talked about all those things because we had a very limited time. So if you have that data, you know that the percentage of probability that the customer has for buying something, and depending on that, you can actually communicate to them,
Obviously, sir.
right? So
Yes.
those are all data which you don't have to really employ a sensor to get. It could be done, it could be collected from apps by linking in with other apps. That is possible.
Okay, sir. Yes.
So if you're interested, you are very welcome to connect me and we can talk about that more
Okay.
and more. It's very
Okay, sir.
interesting, actually.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Acha, Rohit Upadhyay is our BCA student. So
Yes.
Rohit, would you like to ask that question? Rohit,
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good
I'm very
afternoon, sir.
happy, Rohit, that even though you're a BCA student, you attended this program. So first of all, I'm very happy, Rohit, for you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, my question is that as sensory marketing is so much data driven,
Yes.
don't you think it will risk the privacy of an individual, like collecting so much data, what we saw even through our eyes, like facial recognitions and everything? And judging on that basis, but seeing what kind of a world we are living in where hacking is becoming so much popular,
Yeah.
or unethical rather. So don't you think it will risk anyone's privacy just for the sake of marketing?
Well, Mr. Upadhyay, first let me tell you, I am thoroughly impressed by this thought that has come from junior students. And thank you very much. Yes, I completely agree with you. And I must tell you that there is no privacy these days at all for any of us. Any of us. Now, when you say that would it be right for the sake of marketing, I would say no, it wouldn't be. Perhaps it wouldn't be from my philosophical point of view. But the factual point of view is it's going to happen this way or that way. So, so I think you should be able to really understand the reality of the situation, and prepare yourself for what's coming. Now, the thing is, as I said, privacy has already been gone. I can tell you that right from the morning, you are monitored through various apps. Can you tell me how many apps do you have on your mobile phone? Approximately
50, I guess.
50. So you are generating data for at least 150 to 200 companies. I can tell you that safely, because each app will be linked with other companies, and they know your locations, time of interactions, what kind of things you like and don't like, because emojis are analyzed as well. Emojis are captured and analyzed. Your phrase are analyzed, captured and analyzed. And not only that, they will also know what you discuss with your friends if your Hi Google or Hi Siri is activated. Is it activated on your phone?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Has it ever happened to you that you are talking about buying a car or going onto a tour with your friends, and the next day you have the similar advertisements on your phone?
Yes, many times the email
Oh
is like
yeah.
filled with
That
them.
exactly. That's because there is no privacy. So I am not saying this is right or wrong. I have no place to say that. All I'm saying is this is the fact. This is the reality. So be very careful, employ good quality malwares, and you are right, there is no privacy, there won't be any privacy, and this will be bad. And with the video, that brain machine interface that I have shown, you can see that even your thoughts will not be private in the future. Probably, thankfully, Dr. Mukhopadhyay or I will not be seeing that, but you will have to seeing that.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for
You're welcome. You're
throwing
welcome.
light on the topic.
Okay, we have almost 1.5 hours. So I think the last question will be from our faculty, Dr. Shoma Bosh Bishas.
Yes,
She's
please.
our HR faculty, but she's had a good question. So Dr. Shoma, would you ask?
Absolutely. Please.
Dr.
Yeah,
Shoma?
yeah. Yeah. Hello, good
Yeah.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good
Uh,
afternoon.
Yeah.
it's a very nice session, sir.
Thank
Actually,
you.
I was thinking that, so if you see the sophisticated technical instruments, the
Hmm.
company, some companies are actually selling, and they
Hmm.
are having a very niche group of customers who are buying that, and
Hmm.
basically the company they are pinpointing on the customer relationship management through their sales force and
Right.
direct selling and after sales service. So
Hmm.
in that case, how this digital marketing or this AI and ML can
Hmm.
help these companies to understand their
It
customers
can,
better.
or it may not even. Can you give me an example of such sophisticated company as you were mentioning? Anyone?
Yeah, like research instruments, like yeah, they are dealing with different kind of research instruments. So they are basically
Like what?
people are
Name one
looking
instrument.
like microscopy.
Microscope. Okay, fine. Now, for electron microscope,
Yeah.
they do not need to market because it's a totally B2B product. The marketing procedure is totally different.
Yeah.
But for branding, they will require digital marketing. But I don't think they will need much of sensory marketing, really.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yes,
that
yes,
means
I quite agree.
for the
Actually, I started my career as a person, as a marketer in instruments. That is why I was very curious to know what kind of instruments you were thinking of. So that was long,
yeah,
long, long time back. But
yeah.
I know the process. I was with an American company called Millipore. So
Oh, oh, I know that.
there, you know that. Okay. So
Yeah,
so there it's a B2B thing, totally B2B thing. All the digital marketing was required. That day nothing was required. Today it's just branding. But not no one buys Millipore product or microscopes online. It's not possible. It's
yeah.
a
That's
crores of rupees in
I
some
mean,
cases.
because they are
So it's
it's
a
a very
different
niche
thing.
group, and the people they are very
Yes,
yeah they are very highly talented, highly educated people. So
yes. Absolutely. It's a B2B marketing where more direct marketing will be applicable. But the thing is, with the data driven thing these days, they will still collect data about their potential customers. They will know what the
Yeah.
customers are liking and disliking, what their preferences are, and accordingly they will try to market. That is there. So that platform usage is always there. I just want to conclude this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is number one. What I would like to tell you all, that these days we don't think about marketing as a separate function of marketing. We think about marketing as a part of the total IoT. If Dr. Mukhopadhyay offers me an opportunity in future, I will talk to you about IoT. It's fascinating stuff. So when we say digital marketing or marketing, we just don't mean marketing these days. It is all about service to the customer and customer's experience. So think in terms of the holistic nature. This is number one. Number two, I did not have time to talk about the Chartered Institute of Marketing courses, but if anyone wants to know about that, my email is with Dr. Mukhopadhyay in the presentation last slide as well. And I am on LinkedIn or Facebook. Anybody is welcome, students, professor, friends, anybody is welcome to connect with me, and I'll be very happy to answer your queries.
Right.
With that, I thank you all. It has been a real privilege to be able to talk in front of you. Thank you.